All right. Well, welcome back to the farm. Today on the Leader Farming Podcast, I have my friend and partner in crime, again, Hugo Paredes. And welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. It's a pleasure to be here. Excited.
Yeah. So we were just talking about how, spring has sprung.
Yep.
And I said that I'm probably going to sneeze at least once during this podcast. It is pretty obvious that my truck, which is supposed to be white, is actually yellow right now. And man, the pollen is just crazy right now, isn't it?
I think I spend more money now on like tissues than I did on gas. That's how crazy it is. But yeah, I mean, cars are just pure yellow. Sneezing is here everywhere. Allergies it's crazy. But it's a good season though. I love it. I love it. It's the beginning of like great weather for me.
Yeah. So spring represents new growth.
Yep.
And man, when you look outside, like, we were working out this morning. Hugo comes over a couple days a week and we work out in my basement, and I was looking out the window as we were kind of finishing up our workout this morning. And I was like, man, the leaves are putting out, the buds, are putting out. And I live on top of a mountain, and you can see, like during the winter when all the leaves are gone, you can see for miles. And it's starting to, obstruct my view from the mountaintop. So I was like, man, and just the other day, my dad and I were looking at a tree that we planted last year in remembrance of my grandmother. And it's an October glory maple, which is just a beautiful red in the fall. And we have it when we planted it in the ground. When we got it, it was leafless, and then we planted it in the ground, and my dad and I went down and checked on it, and just checking it out and noticing the new buds on the new growth on the tree. And so yeah, let's talk about new growth today. That's leader farming is. We talk about all the time these analogies, or these allegories of just taking what's going on in nature and relating that to our lives and our business and things that are going on. And so I'm curious, what do you think about what's new in the business, Hugo?
Well, just listening to you and kind of thinking about spring, you think about growth, development, things that are arising, things that are happening. And within the business, we were super excited to have introduced what's known as operator delivery, led delivery system, which is pretty similar to like DoorDash or Uber Eats, in which now we as a corporation, as a business, take ownership on doing those deliveries ourselves rather than having third parties. And the introduction of that has been amazing. The team has been super excited to know that like it's something new. So like, it's kind of like a new toy. They're excited that that's going to bring growth to the business. It's going to bring new opportunities for the community in terms of jobs, opportunities for us to reach our community in a better way, because the way it is now is we're having third parties deliver our product, right? And once you make the product, it's there, but delivering it to the guest is, not always going to be the best, right? Maybe it arrives, maybe it doesn't. You don't know the way it arrives. And so now kind of taking ownership of that and being able to start an order and finish the product and deliver the product to the guest with hospitality, second mile service, and just ensuring that the order accuracy is there, it's huge for the team. We're excited to be able to introduce this to the community of Rockmart, and even looking to expand as much as we can. And our marketing director is excited. She was super happy to be able to spearhead this project and the team around her is just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? What is this operator-led delivery program? And they're curious, and curiosity, it just expands like wildfire, and the team is like throwing ideas about what we should do. They're introducing, it hasn't even like launched 100%. Like, we're on the test phase of it. But they're already giving us ideas as to how we can improve it and make it even better for them.
Yeah.
So that's how the business is right now. It's growing. You get to a point where you're pretty much doing the same things over and over again, that when you introduce something new to like the business, that growth that comes with it is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's painful, because a lot of times, you don't know what you're doing, but it's fun to do that. It's like kind of like what you talked about. It's, you go from being able to see through the trees and not having anything to starting to see the leaves and everything. Like, just that feeling, translate that to like your business. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. I was in Birmingham this past weekend. My daughters had a dance competition there, and I ordered DoorDash because we were kind of stuck at this auditorium, the Alabama Theater, and we were there from like 9 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, and we didn't really have time to go out to eat between dances and award ceremonies and that sort of thing. And so I ordered DoorDash, and it was not the best experience. We didn't order Chick-fil-A. We actually ordered Buffalo Wild Wings, and the food was fine, but just the service was like, it kind of felt like a drug deal going down in front of the Alabama Theater, because this car pulls up with like blacked out tinted windows, and I wasn't really quite sure whether, when the window rolled down, whether somebody was going to be pointing a gun in my face or whether I was going to get some food,
Right.
And it was a little bit scary. And again, it wasn't the best experience in terms of hospitality on the service side. And so, I think that's one of the things that we hope to add in our process of taking over this whole new sales channel for the business. Of course, we'll continue to offer third party through DoorDash and Uber Eats and other things, but this operator-led delivery, Chick-fil-A delivery, is an opportunity for us to just grow the business, and it's exciting. It really is.
And I also think that it allows us to protect the brand as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge, because I think that you just mentioned it, like, you don't know what to expect when that delivery happens. If you see a car that comes with Chick-fil-A all over it, like, you know what to expect.
Yeah.
And so, just as much as it allows us to protect the brand, it allows us to protect our business as well, because we're the ones that are promising a product to the guest. So now we're taking that opportunity to go above and beyond and be able to say, like, okay, we're bringing that to your door steps. And so I think that's huge, and that's awesome.
Yeah. So, all right, here's a little bit of a curveball thought. So yesterday we had tornado warnings, and so with spring and new growth comes this drastic changes in temperature when we're going from a warm front to a cold front, and especially here in the South, there are quite a few tornado warnings and things that happen during this season. So what do you foresee? Spring isn't always sunshine and budding roses. There's definitely something from the storm coming, that sort of thing, things that you have to look out for in the spring. And so what are your thoughts on that? Anything that you see on the horizon that we need to be prepared for, even though there's this great opportunity for growth?
I think change is always hard, and I think that's one of the things that is probably going to take a little bit to get used to, is that tornado of, like, we were so used to doing things a certain way, and you introduce that change that it becomes a little chaotic. On top of that, I think we're adding the fact that society is going back to trying to be out and about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so sales are going to be, growing.
Yeah.
And when you're introducing a new, process and system to a business, while the existing structure that you have continues to grow, uh, on top of that, add any labor issues, right? Because now you have to hire more people. Now you have to train more people. Um, so it's all that combines into, you see this wonderful thing of introducing, operator-led delivery for Chick-fil-A, but then what comes with it is all these new training processes that you have to see, the hiring again, the hours in which we operate, and even to that adding the community, right? Like, you don't know what to expect. Maybe we're starting slow, maybe we're starting booming, and schools take advantage of the fact that now they don't have to leave, like teachers don't have to leave schools, and now they can order their food. And so probably is finding, right now we have two cars. What if it starts growing and we need more cars, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of keeping up with the growth.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
And as I think about, from my standpoint, given that I hold all the liability, like my first thought goes to, all right, well, what if we wreck, one of the vehicles, and what if there's a lawsuit, because we're out on the road now more, and that sort of thing, and so there's definitely some tornadoes that could potentially be on the horizon when it comes to that sort of thing. And so yeah. All right, so let's just transition to personal life and talk a little bit about personal growth. That's, again, I love relating what we see in nature to our own lives. And as we grow as individuals, I feel like that's my primary role as a business owner, as an operator. Like, I've been given this farm, this garden, and it could be good soil or bad soil, or I could allow it to get overrun with weeds, or there's just all these things, but it's just so relatable to what we do on a regular basis, daily, in business, but also in our personal lives. When you think about growth and seasons and storms and that sort of thing. And so what's going on in your personal life right now that you would consider a spring?
Well, that's a very good question. I think I'm just going to share, but I think last week you and I were talking about, I asked you to help me sort of go through the process of opening a business account, right? And as I think about my spring, let me just point out, I think sometimes, I love what you said, that during this introduction of spring comes tornadoes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes as human beings, we get stuck on the fact that we think it's always winter, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not. I think you're going through a growing season, and then something just kind of throws it off, and it's that one tornado. And so if I think about spring and growth, I think about, just my business that I recently opened. Mm-hmm. It's called Legado Consulting. So, focuses on continuous improvement, sort of lean mindset. Just to kind of give you a little bit of backstory, Legado, it's a word for legacy in Spanish. And so kind of wanted to introduce something from my heritage, but also, sort of what my goal wanted to be. So I chose, Legado. And it's been fun. It's been amazing. I see, it's a transition. It's a mindset shift from being an 8 to 5, 8 to 6 worker, hourly employed, to now starting to sort of, transition into that entrepreneurial mindset of like, okay, you've allowed me the opportunity to sort of become my own boss in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And by being able to have now a platform, which is now Legado, I'm able to do that. And I'm only at the, I'm starting to see a leaf here, a leaf there, but it's that's where I am. It's like my business is what's truly showing me what the future could be like. And that's where growth is kind of sprouting in me. It's kind of like, man, being able to just, open the business itself, right? Giving it a name, like going through that process of like, I remember you said, hey, I'm gonna challenge you to pick something meaningful. Like, don't just pick like Hugo, LLC. Like, pick something that's fun to you, and just going through that process of like, what could I pick, or what should I do? Like, that to me was growth within me, because too many times I always thought about, go to school, get a college degree, and then find a job, right? And thanks to the opportunity you've given me in the mentorship, I've been able to kind of get out of that mindset of just finding security of an 8 to 5 job, 8 to 6 hourly, to now saying, okay, like, take the challenge of being able to like earn your own money, right? Like, because it's not about the money, it's about the journey to get there. And that's where I am. I'm on that journey of like, okay, I know what this is like. Sort of experimenting with how am I going to apply the knowledge that I've gained to be able to help others. And so, like, recently, about 2 weeks or so ago, I was able to work for Chick-fil-A corporate and create a small little promotional video for Lean, right? They were trying to introduce that to corporate, and they reached out to me and said, hey, we need Spanish speakers. Is there any way you can, do a promo for us? And I didn't go as an, hourly employee, Hugo Paredes. I went as legal consultant, because now that's my, my phase. That's who I am. It's like, okay, like, I can provide service that I know ultimately will be able to make a difference in people's lives. And so that was, to me, that was great. That was kind of seeing the flower here, flower there on my tree that I just planted.
Yeah,
so
that's exciting. So we had to get your bank account open so you could actually get a check.
Correct.
Consulting, right?
And I think that, going through those motions of just the fun stuff, the challenges of not knowing what to do, because a lot of times I'm even sitting here like, man, am I doing the right thing? Like, I don't even know what to do. Opening a business account, like, how is that different than a regular account? So yeah, like, going through all those things is where my spring is at. And there's a few curves of balls here and there, tornadoes of like setbacks, but overall I think that it is a spring for me. It's growth.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think ultimately I would love every single team member to have their own side business, like that would be awesome. What if we had every single person had their own side business, and it's like, if I needed somebody to for my lawn care, I could use a team member to do that, or they opened a lawn care business, which I think we actually do have a team member just recently opened a lawn care business and reached out to me. But I also am a very loyal person, and I have a person that I use for that right now, and not really planning on changing it, but that was just an example. But I would love to see every single team member that is interested. And I heard a statistic the other day, and I think it's like 80% of Gen Z, the generation beyond millennials, and I think millennial percentage is pretty high, but like 80 to 85% of Gen Z like want to be entrepreneurs. And so you think about, we were just talking earlier about DoorDash and Uber Eats and Uber drivers, and all those types of businesses allow people freedom and flexibility to work their own schedules and kind of be an independent operator, an independent business owner. And I think that's really the direction that we're headed as an economy, is giving people opportunity to have more flexibility in their schedules and when they work. We've rolled out some things that help with that. Obviously trying to get better with it, make it a little more, you and I were talking the other day. I said, what if there was a company that just had like all these people that were like certified and trained to work in the restaurant, and then a restaurant just posted their schedule, and you could be like, oh, well, I want to work here today, and I want to work these hours, and so you just go and snag those hours at that location, and you just show up and work. Like I don't know if that would work, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean that's how ideas are born. And I think that's the beauty of it. I mean, just learning about that statistic, it's like you see it all on the web and everything of these new creations, inventions. I mean, that's how DoorDash was created. That's how Uber was created, right? Convenience to the customer. And so a lot of these younger generations are thinking, I don't want to work, I don't want you to make my schedule. I want to make my own schedule. And so I think as employers, if we think about giving them sort of that freedom to be able to create their own schedule, which is something you've actually done, right? Like in a way with me, it's like, instead of being hourly, you've given me the opportunity to be on salary. And with that, it kind of tells me, okay, like I have to manage my time where I could be a good steward of the opportunity you're giving me, but also allows me to say, okay, like, can I pursue different opportunities such as what I'm doing now, right? In order to grow myself. And that's sort of what I think what lead farming is about too, right? Which is why I love the company and the opportunity that it offers, because it has allowed me to develop myself both within the business, but then also as a person, like side to side, rather than just saying you work for me, you have to do this for me, and then it's not like that, right? It's like it's sort of like they go hand to hand, like, hey, yeah, you do work with me, not for me, right. And then I'm going to help you become the best version of yourself and pursue what you want to pursue.
Ultimately I wish every role was like that in the restaurant, but there are some roles that are pretty solidified in terms of you got to be here from this time to this time. But I think we're definitely moving in the direction of more flexibility and giving people in every leadership level position in the restaurant, we give people what we call non-operational time, and we say, look, you decide when you're going to come in and work on your area of the business, not just working in your area of the business, but working on your area of the business. And so that's part of that entrepreneurial development, and helping people learn how to, like you said, manage your time, but then also, having some flexibility and freedom. Yeah, there's a lot of trust involved there, but like having some flexibility and freedom to be able to work on something in the business. And so, so as we kind of wrap things up and conclude the time together today, just really excited about spring. And I'm not a huge fan of winter, but I do know that a lot of growth happens in winter. And when we take that perspective of learning from the difficult times that we've been through, we can look back and say that we've learned, we've grown. And if it's a mistake, I was actually at the water department yesterday here in Polk County. I was talking about locating a water meter for a property that I own, and there's a sign on the wall that said, forget the mistake, but don't forget what you learned. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, and so that's what we're talking about here. It's like we all make mistakes, we all go through winters, we all go through challenging times, but there's lessons, there's opportunities, and there's always growth. And so we just want to encourage everybody out there listening to think about, as we're moving into spring physically, and just thinking about personal growth and growth opportunities in your life, just be encouraged that there's always opportunity. The glass is half full, not half empty. And when we look on the bright side of things, we can continue to make progress and grow. And so thanks for listening in, and look forward to have you back on the show again soon.
Well, thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure to be here.